I'm a queer, AuDHD, cis woman, and I work in counselling and psychotherapy. And that is not just my job, it's like, that's my way of being. And I found that quite late in life. I'm late diagnosed autistic, and I'm currently exploring an ADHD diagnosis as well. I've got a small family, so I've got a couple of children. One of them's in university, the other one's just finishing primary school, so big age gaps as well. And both of those children are neurodivergent as well. One late diagnosed, one just diagnosed at end of primary school. My eldest child is 20 this year. About 10 years ago, I was kind of concerned, I think, with some of the challenges they were facing as they finished primary school. That assessment was a negative assessment. They told me my child wasn't neurodivergent. And it was kind of reflected back that actually they may have been a product of my parenting style, which was really, really impactful and really quite distressful at the time. Fast forward pretty much 9 years, that child 2 years ago got diagnosed with autism and ADHD, Tourette syndrome, dyspraxia and dyslexia. During their process of the diagnosis, I answered a lot of questions for the clinical psychologist, and I also sat in on the interviews with my child. And during that process, there was a lot of the questions that my child was answering that I was like, and there's a lot of familiarity of the questions and my responses, and hearing the psychologists at the time talk about neurodivergence in general and doing loads of psychoeducation with my child. And it made me start to wonder whether or not I may be neurodivergent too. And I got a positive autism assessment and was highly recommended I seek an ADHD assessment, which I've been doing now for 18 months. So that's how I came to realise that I'm neurodivergent, was through my child's journey. It's my ability to pattern seek. The job that I do is I'm a therapist. So to be able to work with people and see, so like almost connect the dots of their own story for them. And I can do that quite quickly and help them to do that self-actualization stuff and develop their own confidence and self-worth with that. I think that is what I love about being able to share that bit of my brain to help other people. I'm quite self-analytical. However, I've worked a lot on that being non-critical over the years. So again, I love the fact that I can have these really crazy conversations with other ND people and we can really explore existential stuff, and I love that. And then the fact that I think outside the box, I'm quite a creative person. I can think outside. The fact that I can look at these systems and go, well, if you did that and that, I love that. It frustrates me because nothing changes, but I love the fact that I can do it. With my children, so my eldest, they are so creative. They want to be a scriptwriter. That's the dream. They want to be a scriptwriter and then character designer. And their ability to absorb these characters and get into the mind of another person and almost feel like you're wearing their skin is quite remarkable. And I know that's their attention to detail, their ability to hyper focus on that. My younger one, their take on their neurodivergence is absolutely, I am who I am, and that makes me great. So they own every step of that. And I'll give you an example. So they've got really trouble sleeping at the moment. I walked in and said, how was your sleep? And they went, oh, my ADHD is playing up again. It keeps switching on at 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's like their ability to self-understand, but self-compassion at the same time with that. I'm in awe of that because I don't always do that for myself. And again, the ability to just kind of think outside the box for both of them. They are so unique in their own way, but I see the links and the connections between our neurodivergences and how we all kind of have similar traits. Pre-diagnosis, my assumption was that I struggled to navigate the world that I live in due to attachment issues, potential PTSD, very trauma-informed adverse acts that happened in my life that quite possibly could have shaped those interactions. But there was no room for anything else. It was like, oh, I'm broken, there's something wrong with me, it doesn't work for me, etc., etc. I'm not good enough. Post-diagnosis, a lot made sense to me. So during my training, we have to do a dissertation in England in our 3rd year. And I did this dissertation about chronic illness and perfectionism and the cost of that. And I often say now, since my diagnosis, there was a whole chapter missing. Like, oh my God, there's a whole chapter missing here with this whole brand new lens on it about how neurodivergence was impacting my life. And I just had no awareness of it. So what it's done for me is help with self-validation, and it's helped me understand myself better. And I think the things that I used to struggle with and think, oh, it must be me that's getting that wrong. Now I look and think, actually, that system's not right and it needs challenging. From an internal perspective, it's been really validating, but it's opened up a whole kind of new set of questions and wider questions as well. So that would be connection with other neurodivergent people. And that's as far as it goes. I haven't found any structures that make me or my children feel seen. Those structures feel like they are still pushing for us to be different, to fit in, to make it work. So since my diagnosis, I built up connections with people who are also neurodivergent. Maybe they didn't know as well, and it's been an interesting journey for all of us. But what I've done is, I guess I've found the tribe, is the way I would describe that. So I have safe places where I'm seen and I'm heard, and that's really important. But on a wider network, I've also made collaborations and networking with neurodivergent therapists, neurodivergent clinical supervisors, neurodivergent mental health professionals, and I've been part of wonderful opportunities where we've come together as a collective to support each other, share our stories, share our best practice work, etc. And those are the places that I feel supported and I feel seen. It's like a coming home is the best way I can describe that.